3 weeks into the 2022 season, and they've been very eventful. Lots of fun, lots of great baseball. But we're back for the 6th episode here on the Free Baseball Pod. Hi, everybody. Will Town here, and alongside me is, as always, Andrew Mendez. And Andrew, we've had such a great start to the season, especially as Yankee fans. Our team is doing really well. But a lot of other teams, two that we're going to talk about that have really caught our eye, and one of them, more specifically, probably has caught the eye of a lot of people in Major League Baseball. And we have a variety of different topics that we want to talk about because there has just been so much going on. We had to narrow it down. But we have a good show ahead for you guys. And I hope we hope that you guys enjoy it as always. But Andrew, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. So finally, it's great to finally start to discuss real baseball that's happened. 6th episode, finally recapping what's going on. It's been a while since the last episode, so I'm happy to jump right in it. Talk about our top 5 of whatever position we're gonna have and some news.
That's right. We have another new segment of Around the Horn. We're going to try to keep it going and get all 9, or I guess it would be 10 positions. We're going to do designated hitters at some point too. We're going to 11 because we're probably going to do relief pitchers. So we still have a few episodes left with Around the Horn. But yes, it has been a little bit. Andrew and I have both been very busy, college students. Finals week starting to creep up on us. So, but we're back now. We're back for episode 6, and let's jump right into it. Miguel Cabrera, Andrew, 3,000 hits. He became the 7th player in Major League history to record both 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. That 500th home run coming last year against the Toronto Blue Jays. I believe it was in September. It's just been very exciting. It's another milestone in a career for a player that has had nothing but a plethora of milestones.
Yeah, it's great for Miggy, but it was very interesting. So he did end up getting his hit on Friday, but he entered the game on Thursday against the Yankees after getting 3 hits. I believe it was on Wednesday with 2,999. When it goes 0-for-3, it comes up, big moment, 1-0 game, 2 outs, 2nd and 3rd. We were like, this is the perfect moment, make a big lead, and Aaron Boone decides to intentionally walk Miggy. So with the moment, I think it was the right move. With the moment being so big, I think it would have been cool if, I don't know as a Yankees fan what I would say, but I think it'd be cool if he kind of let him have the chance to get it. But what do you think?
I'm very happy you brought that up, Andrew, because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter and just in the Major League world in general just bash Aaron Boone and the Yankees for this decision. Bash them, like typical Yankee decision. The Yankees have no class, something like that. And that is just not true. Not true at all. You got to put the milestone aside. Miggy was going to get it regardless. He got it the next game. He was going to get that hit regardless of what happened. It was a 2-1 game or whatever it was. It was within reach. Well, I think it was 1-0, right?
Yeah, 1-0.
1-0. 1-0 in the bottom of the 8th inning. You put Miguel Cabrera on first base, and what happens? Oh, there's a force play at every base. It had nothing to do with the milestone. It was a baseball decision. If they got the ground ball, could have been a double play, and the Yankees could have gone on and won the game. Is it infuriating for some people? Yeah, it definitely was infuriating for some people. But I'm not, even if I wasn't a Yankee fan, I think I would still think the same way in terms of this scenario, because it was a baseball move. Knowing the baseball man that Aaron Boone is, it probably hurt him inside to do that. Ryan Ruocco of the Yes Network said that while it was going on. And yeah, it may have hurt because, it only a handful of players have recorded 3,000 hits, and only 7 have done what Miguel Cabrera has done in his career in terms of 3,000 hits and 500 home runs. But it was a baseball decision. Aaron Boone's job is to win baseball games. That was a decision that was made to put the Yankees in the best possible position to win the game at the moment in that game, in the bottom of the 8th inning. And to be honest, the hate is ridiculous. He ended up getting the hit the next game, like I just said. And if they were up 8-0, understood. Like, you're going to let Miguel Cabrera get the at-bat there. But you weren't. You were up 1-0. That game could have easily flipped on its head and the Yankees could have won. And if they let Miguel Cabrera hit and he drives in those 2 runs, yay, there's a party, 3,000 hits. But, oh, wait, we're down 3-0, and now we have a bigger hole to climb out of in the top of the ninth, which ended up happening regardless. But forget that. It was a baseball decision. That's all I got on that.
Yeah, well, I can't completely agree. There's some unwritten rules where I can kind of get their side with it. You know how we talk about like the pimping home run stuff or like bunting with no hitters, like those. You kind of see the argument. There's no argument with this. It was a 1-0 game, and I think it was
Yeah,
better. I
exactly.
think it's honestly better because he got it the next day, and right there was his longtime teammate Jose Iglesias.
And
So
they blew out the Rockies too. Like it was like this was the game against the Yankees was not a joke. It was not a blowout. The Yankees could have swept the series. There was just, and I know it's April. It's April. It's early. There's going to be a bunch of excuses, and there will always be these excuses. But at the end of the day, when you want to get to October, you got to win these games in April. And the Yankees, and specifically Aaron Boone, they were trying to put themselves in a position to win the game, and that meant walking Miguel Cabrera when 3,000 hits was on the line. So. Not a bad decision, a little overreaction, but congrats to Miguel Cabrera on his 3,000th hit. Came off of Anthony Santazella of the Colorado Rockies, base hit into right field. Great job. It was just a Miggy piece of hitting. Just took it to right field, and it was beautiful.
Yeah. So next thing I'm gonna bring up is just a little bit of injury news here. John Means unfortunately had a sprained elbow, which required Tommy John surgery. One of the only bright spots really for the Orioles. He had a 3.62 ERA last year, leading, the worst rotation in baseball. He definitely could have been a good trade piece for them. So there's just unfortunate.
A little minor of a topic, just because it is the Baltimore Orioles. No disrespect to them whatsoever, but John Means is their ace. There's pretty clear cut there. Don't really think he'd be an ace on every other staff in Major League Baseball, but he's a very good pitcher nonetheless. Very good pitcher. Would love to have him on the Yankees. I think he would thrive anywhere else. He could fit right into almost any rotation. Soft throwing left-hander. It's a lot of ground balls. Threw a no-hitter last year. That could have been a perfect game. But it goes down with Tommy John surgery. He's going to be out for a while now. And like you said, Andrew, the biggest significance of this to me is that takes a what could be a very valuable arm on the trade market is now not a thing. They're not going to trade him. No one's going to want him. Obviously, he's not going to play for over a year. So that's really the most significance that I can take out of this situation. But John Means still a great pitcher. Hopeful for a speedy recovery and get back on the bump soon.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to start talking about one of the two teams that I alluded to in our intro, and that is going to be the New York Mets. New York Mets, first place, best team in baseball, first place in the National League East at 14-6. They are 3 games ahead of the second place Miami Marlins. Still, as we introed the show with, only 3 weeks in, but they've been one of the best teams, if not the best team in all of baseball. They have the best record. That goes without saying. Obviously, if you have the best record, you're going to be in a conversation to be the best team in baseball. But all around, both sides of the ball, this team has been very good. This is at least a top 10 offense in the National League. And they have definitely lived up to that top 5 pitching staff hype that was surrounding them after getting Max Scherzer and Chris Bassett in the offseason. Starting rotation has been very good. You look at Tyler McGill, the season that he's having, unbelievable stuff. Makes it look like the absence of Jacob deGrom really hasn't hit the Mets as hard as most, and including myself, thought it was going to hit them.
Yeah, the Mets, I think they're going to be completely fine. DeGrom, they did just have an update how his shoulder is healing a little bit. He's going to need at least 3 more weeks before he starts throwing. But yeah, 13-5. Max Scherzer's been incredible. Carlos Carrasco, I think, has the lowest ERA out of that whole rotation. Lindor and Nimmo have been killing it. McNeil, the Mets, they're going to be there. They're one of the top teams in the NL, and they're going to be completely fine without DeGrom for the first half.
And they have through 20 games so far. I really don't see them slowing down anytime soon. I'm happy you mentioned Francisco Lindor because he has really gotten my attention once again. The attention that I was giving him when he played for Cleveland. He's finally looking like that top 3 maybe top 3 might be a stretch right now, but at least a top 5 shortstop in Major League Baseball. He's batting 273 with a 360 on base percentage, a 494 slugging, and an 854 OPS with 4 home runs and 13 RBIs. He's a defensive wizard. He's been very good defensively, as he always has been with both Cleveland and New York. But he's finally looking like the stick in the lineup that the Mets wanted from last year. And he's finally playing up to that big contract extension that he signed with the Mets last season as well, pre-opening day. So I would definitely keep an eye out on him. But as another thing with the Mets that I want to talk about too, because it happened yesterday, the hit by pitches. They have been hit by pitches at an absurd rate. I believe, if I remember reading this correctly, they have 2 guys, I think it's Starling Marte and Pete Alonso, who have gotten hit more than the entire Pittsburgh Pirates team. And that doesn't even include the rest of the list that has gotten hit over 2 times. So there was a little incident yesterday with Nolan Arenado, and the Mets, he ended up throwing Tomas Nido aside, and he wanted all the smoke after getting thrown up and in. But the Mets, they just continue to roll. They continue to play well, and I don't see them slowing down either.
Yeah, this team is dangerous. I think once DeGrom comes back, the full team's healthy, they're definitely a threat with the Dodgers and Giants up there top of the NL. So moving on to our next team that we're going to discuss, that's been very good. They have had good stretches in the past, and it usually never lasts for the full season. And that's the Angels. They're 13-7 right now. And it seems like everything's finally clicking for this team. You know, they got the offense. They got pretty good pitching this year. Ohtani been doing his thing. Patrick Sandoval's been a stud. Syndergaard's been a great addition for them. And this offense, like when it's fully healthy, they're definitely one of the best in the league. Trout still doing the Trout thing. 1.284 OPS. Ohtani has been off to a bit of a slow start. He has picked up a little bit, but they've had Rendon's been pretty good for them too. Taylor Ward is actually, I think, has the best overall stats, even though small sample size. And this Angels team, if they keep it up, they're gonna be pretty legit this year.
Yeah, this offense is actually playing at the level that many people said, if this offense can put it together, this team's not going to be that bad. And this offense has more than put it together. They are a top 5 offense in the American League, with the exception of one statistical category, which they rank 6th in. Sorry, big deal there. They're tied for 2nd in runs per game with 5. They're 6th in hits per game at 8.4. 5th in team average at 255. 3rd in team on base percentage at 335. 1st in team slugging in the American League at 437, and also 1st in team OPS in the American League at 772, and they're 2nd in home runs at 25. So this offense hasn't been the issue. The pitching was always the issue with the Angels during the Trout era, at least, and it's still not phenomenal. If it was phenomenal, this team may almost have 20 wins, but they are 19th in team ERA in the American League at 383, which is still not bad. It's not bad. There's been teams that have just played better. They've pitched better. Hence the Yankees. Their pitching has just been absolutely lights out. So the Angels don't really stack up there, but their offense is carrying a heavy load, and they're fun to watch. Trout, he's being Mike Trout. He's batting 365 with a 385 on base percentage and 808 slugging and a 1.284 OPS. 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's doing Mike Trout stuff.
Yeah, Mike Trout. Hopefully this Angels team keeps it up, because I think it'd be great for baseball to see a team with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in the playoffs, because we can't just go Mike Trout's whole career with him playing one playoff series.
I think Ohtani, that would be really good, but just the fact that Trout's made the playoffs one time, and they got destroyed by the Royals back in 2014 maybe. Yeah, that was just a brutal series for the Angels, and they were the best team in Major League, maybe not Major League Baseball, but the best team in the American League that year. I believe they won like 98 games. Probably the best season that Mike Trout has played on the Angels with.
Yeah.
That was probably their best overall season as a team. But this team, exciting so far. The American League West is, if the Angels are going to be this good, it's going to be tough competing with the Mariners and the Astros. And funny enough, you bring up those three teams. The Astros have probably been the worst of those three teams, and they're still very good. So the AL West race it's heating up already. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, the AL West is pretty interesting, but there is one team that is not very interesting. Will, do you want to talk about them?
Yeah, and I believe I said AL East like a bunch of times there. I meant to say AL West, but AL West it is. Yeah. Our last headline for this segment, or for this show, it's going to be how disgraceful the Oakland Athletics franchise is acting. Not even acting, it's just how they are. They had a whopping 2,703 fans for an entire attendance during a game against the Baltimore Orioles in a stadium that has 46,000 capacity.
6,000.
I don't understand. I don't understand. They tore it down. They tore it down because they didn't want to pay. They didn't want to pay the big guys. I get that, but you had a contending team. You won 86 games last year. This fan base is so diehard, and this is how you're going to treat them. They've spent what, 30 million on their payroll. That's how much they've invested into this team. It's so sad because this team is always very scrappy. I think of the Oakland A's, and any team that they have, they're always just really scrappy, and then they never want to go out and spend the money for guys. So I'm cool with development and player development. I love that. I love homegrown stuff. But at the same time, you just tore down your entire core, which came from the farm. I really don't know what's going on there. But the lowest, that was a very low attendance. I feel so bad for the fans of the Oakland A's.
Yeah, that game was affected a little bit because there was some rain involved. But still, like, you got to see, it's just a boycott from the fans. They're fed up. You mentioned the payroll. It is actually about 52 million.
Oh, 52? Okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous considering John Fisher is he's worth $3 billion. It's not like he's the Rays owner. Like, the Rays, they can kind of get away with it because they're a very smart organization. They have about like 40-50 million payroll, but they're still always one of the best teams. But if you're just going to tear it down like this, like trading your two cornerstone pieces, and Matt Olson and Matt Chapman, can't be extending one of them, it's just so disrespectful to the fans. And hopefully their attendance will go up a little bit if they can get this new stadium in Howard Terminal, but we don't know if that's going to get approved.
It's just a tricky situation with the A's, and it's really, really sad to watch unfold. I'd be very open to seeing if relocation is in the cards. Move them out to Vegas. That is the spot, I would say, that Major League Baseball is trying to get a team at. Just to relocate, not even for expansion, but the fans in Oakland deserve better. They just deserve so much better than what has happened to them. It's very unfortunate to watch unfold out in Oakland, but is what it is. It's a business.
Yeah, it's tough to see, but hopefully A's can. I just feel bad for their fans. Hopefully they have a bit of a change of organization and they decide
a change of motivation.
Change of motivation. Something. When you win, they won 80. They were a competitive team last year, and want to tear it all down. It's upsetting.
Yeah, tear the whole thing down, and it's not just last year. They've been competitive for many years with the same guys, and now they're creeping up to that free agency mark, and the A's were like, we don't want to pay you. So maybe the guys that they got in those hauls from the Braves, the Blue Jays, the Padres, you keep listening, the Mets, they spread the love around the league with the guys that they had, and hopefully the guys that they acquired end up panning out, and Oakland will be back at the top of the American League West. But that's going to wrap it up for our news section. We're going to move on to our Around the Horn segment, and this week it will be right fielders. Okay, so we're going to hop into our last segment for this episode on the Free Baseball Pod, and that will be another edition of Around the Horn. And this week we will be doing the top 5 right fielders in baseball. Now, this was a really, really good list, Andrew. There's a lot of really good names. Kind of difficult for me to sort correctly, if you want to put it that way. Just a lot of good players on this list. A lot of guys that may even be in the top 10 conversation for all positions, all players in baseball. So we'll just get right into it right now, starting with my top 5. At number 1, I have Mookie Betts of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Had a down year last year, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's been number 1 for quite some time now. So I'm going to keep him at number 1. The best defender, in my opinion, for all outfield positions in baseball, not just right field. Very good offensively, as I said, though, down year last year. But Mookie's still my number 1. At 2, I have a guy who I think will be the number 1 at the end of this season, and he'll be the number 1 on this list for many years to come, maybe even number 1 in baseball, and that's Juan Soto. Now, Juan is an incredible hitter. Everyone knows that. But one thing that I really want to point out that has really upped his game is that his defense has significantly improved since his debut year in 2018. He had 4 defensive runs saved in 2021. It was the first time he was in the positive figures in his career. Every other year before then, we were seeing negative numbers. We were just thinking, oh, he's kind of mediocre defensively. He's just really a good stick to have in the lineup. But no, Soto is becoming a much more complete player, and he's only 23 years old. So happy to see where he ends up later in his career. At 3, this is a guy that will be competing with Juan Soto for both of their entire careers, and that's Ronald Acuna Jr. I think he will be on the either 1 or 2. I think him and Soto may start flip-flopping throughout the years. It's going to be very fun to see how both of their careers unfold. But for right now, I have Acuna at number 3. Only played 82 games last year. He suffered a torn ACL in July of 2021, but he just returned to the field actually last week. He's only played in 3 games so far this season, but I'm excited to see what he has in store for 2022. At number 4, I have from our very own New York Yankees, Aaron Judge. Now, this is where the list got difficult for me because I watch Judge play every single day, and he just blows me away every single time. It was tough putting him at 4, but for right now, I'm going to keep him there. I could definitely see him jumping into the top 3 at the end of the season, especially with the way that he has started playing in 2022. He's my AL MVP pick, and he's off to a very hot start so far. He's already tallied a complete game. He has a 1 WAR already in 3 weeks into the season. He has 8 home runs, 16 RBIs. He's batting .300. He has a .364 on base percentage, .663 slugging percentage, and a .1026 OPS. Which is a very, very hot start for Mr. Judge. He comes in at number 4. And rounding out the list, I have the reigning National League MVP, Bryce Harper. Harper, an incredible year last year. It's another guy that I feel, wow, Bryce Harper is number 5. That just goes to show you how incredible this list really is. He led all of Major League Baseball in slugging percentage at .615 last year, and he also had a .1044 OPS, which also led all of Major League Baseball. So Betts, Soto, Acuna, Judge, Harper, that's my top 5. Andrew, who do you have?
Well, I have the same exact 5 players in my top 5. I have a much different list. Starting off number 1, I don't know how this guy's not your number 1, Juan Soto. 1,000 OPS between last 2 years combined in 198 games. Second place finish, probably pretty close to winning it last year if he didn't get injured and miss a little bit of games. Same thing with 2020, probably would have won if he didn't get false positive COVID. League leading 217 OPS, crazy numbers. He's probably the second best hitter in baseball. Well, he is the second best hitter in baseball. He might be number 1. He's only 23 years old, which is the same age as the number 1 prospect in the league, Adley Rutschman. It's crazy how good he is. The defense, it used to be like a big concern, like, oh, he's an incredible hitter, but what about the defense? It's pretty good now. It's a little bit above league average. I don't think we've seen an eye like this in the league since a guy like
Very good point.
Barry Bonds. his plate discipline is incredible, and anyone who says he's not number one is just wrong.
145 walks to 93 strikeouts last year. That's impressive at 23 years old. Wow.
It's crazy. He's the next Ted Williams. And then number 2, I have Aaron Judge. He's one of the more consistent hitters in baseball. 920 OPS, 367 on base percentage in the last 197 games. As you said, he's off to an amazing start, nearly 200 WRC plus start this year. He's an incredible defender, incredible arm, 10 defensive runs saved last year. Hits the ball harder than anyone in baseball, 96.7 average exit velocity last year. Hardest hit, best hard hit rate in the league. As I said with Soto, incredible plate discipline. And the big concern people had with Judge was his injury issues. But last year he played a full season. He missed some games with COVID, but pretty much healthy the whole year, which I think they figured out a new workout routine for him. So the guy, he's going to make a lot of money this offseason. Probably should have been paid by the Yankees. He's easily my number 2. At number 3, Ronald Acuna. He definitely could have been past Judge, but he hasn't been playing a lot recently. The talent level is probably around the same level, but if we look at the strictly numbers, the numbers that Judge has put up cumulatively and by rate basis are maybe probably just a little bit better. Obviously, advanced peripherals back up all his great stats, back to bat average, back to WOBA, 987 OPS in 40 games in 2020. He's a complete 5-tool player. He's one of the fastest players in baseball. He's an above average outfielder, and he's only 24 years old. And then number 4, I have Mookie Betts. I don't know how you have him at number 1. He really hasn't been exactly the same since his Big Ten WAR season with the Red Sox in 2018. Yes, he was pretty good in 2020. Had a down year last year. He's obviously dealt with some injury issues that make it tough for him to get in a groove. Yeah, he's a pretty good fielder, probably the best arm in baseball. But I just don't see him being the number 1 talent-wise, numbers-wise anymore. And then number 5, same as you. The only spot we agree on here, Bryce Harper. Crazy how the player who won MVP last year is number 5 on the list. 5 worst season, over 1,000 league leading OPS. What definitely does keep him down is his fielding. He's not as good of a fielder. If it wasn't for that, he probably could have had a chance of being over Mookie or maybe even Acuna on my list. And he's like I said with Soto, he's probably second best eye in baseball, always walks, maybe always up there 1-2 walk percentage every single year. And that's my list.
Yeah, Andrew, I think the right field position, it's a very like interchangeable list. I feel like my list could have gone very similarly to how yours was constructed. But for me, Mookie, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I said that in the beginning of my list, and I was just like, this is a guy who has been at the top for quite some time now. And I do think this is going to be it for him after the end of this year. I'm going to give him the number 1 nod right now. But I do think Soto is going to take that spot over very easily. I know you already have him there, but I'm going to give it to Mookie because you never know. He could have another very good and explosive season that will make people think, well, maybe he is still in that number 1 conversation. But as I said, interchangeable list, lots of big and great names, just great baseball players, all around baseball players in right field. So it was a lot of fun making this list. Lots of great numbers, great statistics, and all 5 of these guys you can expect to be in some kind of big name, big award conversation down the line this year. They all have that kind of talent, whether it be the MVP, Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves. It's going to come down to these top 5 guys. So great list from you, Andrew. Like I said, again, interchangeable. I think it could have gone either way for myself. But that'll wrap up this segment of Around the Horn. And before we go, as always, it's trivia time. Last episode's question was who recorded the first strikeout in 2022? And the correct answer was Kyle Hendricks of the Chicago Cubs. Shout out to Chris DeMarsico. He was the first person to have the correct answer last episode. Great job, Chris. Now, Andrew, what question do you have this time around?
Question for today is, who led the right field position in hits in the 2021 season? Make sure to reply to our Twitter question or leave it in comments on Instagram or YouTube.
Yep. Leave your answer in the thread that'll be posted when this episode is released. Thread will be on Twitter as always. And also, as always, the first person to comment the correct answer will get a shout out, just like Chris did today. But that's going to do it for this edition of the Free Baseball Pod. Season is still very, very young, but it just keeps getting better and better every single day. Andrew and I really, really do appreciate the support that all of you, the viewers, have been giving to us. It's been unbelievable. We really thoroughly enjoy it, and we love hearing your feedback each and every day. So thank you so much for that. But that's going to do it. That will do it for episode 6 on the Free Baseball Pod. For Andrew, I'm Will, and we'll catch you in the next one.